You've probably heard the parable of the talents a dozen times, right? It seems like a pretty simple story about money, hard work, and getting what you deserve. But what if I told you this familiar story isn't really about money at all? What if it's actually about the ultimate purpose of all creation and a hidden cosmic accusation against God himself? Yeah, let's dig in.
So it all starts here, pretty straightforward. A master is heading out on a journey, and he entrusts his property to 3 servants. And just so you know, a talent wasn't chump change. We're talking a massive amount of money, like many years' worth of wages for an average worker. So right from the get-go, the stakes are incredibly high.
All right, so first up, let's just quickly go over the story we all think we know. Because to really get what's hidden deep inside, we have to start with what's lying right on the surface.
The usual take on this is super simple, right? The first 2 servants, they invest the cash, they double it, and the master says, "Great job!" The third guy, though, he just buries his 1 talent. When the master gets back, he just hands over the original amount, and he gets called lazy and wicked. The moral of the story seems to be, use the gifts God gives you, don't be lazy. But that's just scratching the surface.
Okay, this is where things get really, really interesting. Because the key that unlocks this whole parable is hidden in the real meaning of a single word: talent.
I mean, really think about it for a second. Is the grand takeaway from this epic story just, hey, be a good financial planner? Or is there something way, way deeper going on here?
See, on the surface, a talent was a unit of money. It was business capital. But the deeper spiritual meaning here changes the entire game. In this story, a talent represents everything the Creator gives us. We're talking about our time, our health, our natural abilities, our spiritual gifts. Every single thing you have is a talent, and it's on loan from the Master.
So if these talents are literally all of our gifts, that opens up a much bigger question. Why? Why were they given to us in the first place? This isn't just about being productive. This is about a huge cosmic purpose.
And that purpose is nothing short of the completion of creation itself. Okay, so what in the world does that mean? Well, it's the idea that by using our God-given talents, we are actually proving that the Creator's ways, His commandments, are good and true and bring life. And that proof is what ultimately destroys the very foundation of sin in the universe.
And it's not some vague concept. There's actually a clear step-by-step process. First, you use your gifts, your talents. As you do that, your life becomes the living proof that God's ways are not only possible, but good. And when that truth is demonstrated for all to see, the lie that God is unfair, which is the root of all sin, it just dissolves. And that leads to the final step, the restoration of creation back to its original perfect state.
Now, keeping that cosmic purpose in mind, let's go back and look at that 3rd servant again. You see, his failure wasn't just about being lazy. It was rooted in a very specific and toxic belief system. He wasn't just hiding the money. He was making a powerful accusation. Just listen carefully to his own words. This is the core of his defense. This isn't just some flimsy excuse. He's passing judgment on the master's character. He says, "I knew you, so I was afraid." His actions came directly out of what he believed about his master.
So here's the absolute kicker. The servant is basically acting like a prosecutor, building a legal case. He argues that the master is a hard man, a tyrant who demands the impossible, reaping where he never sowed. And if that's true, the servant's logic follows that he has zero moral obligation to try and produce a profit. This argument is the original lie of Satan against God, the accusation that God is an unjust taskmaster whose rules are impossible to follow.
Okay, so that brings us to what he actually did, burying the talent in the ground. And believe me, this is no random detail. It's a powerful metaphor for a very specific kind of spiritual failure. So literally, yeah, he hid cash in the dirt. But spiritually, the ground or the earth is a symbol for our flesh, our own selfish worldly desires. So to bury your talent means to take the gifts God gave you for this huge cosmic purpose, and instead, you squander them entirely on your own comfort, your own pleasure, your own agenda.
And look, this is not a new problem. This kind of self-deceived faith has a long and ugly history. The Pharisees had the talent of spiritual knowledge, but they used it to build their own status and actually blocked people from finding God. Throughout history, corrupt churches have used their God-given power to twist the truth for their own gain.
And it's still happening today, with anyone who thinks they're serving God, but really, they're just using their gifts to serve themselves.
This whole thing really boils down to one single fundamental choice. You see, the parable isn't just a story. It's more like a mirror that forces every one of us to answer a critical question about how we view the master.
I mean, just look at the difference here. It's night and day. The faithful servants operated from a deep belief that their master was gracious, generous, and that it was a joy to partner with him. The wicked servant operated from the belief that the master was a harsh tyrant who should be feared and avoided. The way you use your talents, that's what reveals which of these two masters you really believe in.
So, when you get right down to it, this famous story was never really about managing your money.
It's a test. It's a kind of spiritual litmus test designed to reveal what you truly believe about the character of God. Are you joyfully partnering with a generous creator, or are you fearfully hiding from a harsh tyrant? Your life is the answer to that question.
And that leaves all of us with one final, unavoidable question. So take a hard look at your own life, your time, your health, your skills, all the incredible gifts you've been given. Where are they invested? Are they out in the world working to prove the goodness of the master, or are they buried in the ground of your own comfort and your own desires?